What's up, guys? This is Heis, and welcome back to Stories from the Shop. The first time we did this little series, we talked about that SD40 that's full of poop, which, yeah, that's a story and a half. Make sure you go check it out if you haven't seen it already. But today, I figured we'd talk about this little iron missile. Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't look like a missile, does it? Yeah, it's not supposed to be one, but it was, and, yeah. It got a little dinged up, so fun fact. Longtime viewers of the channel have probably heard me tell this story. It comes up on live streams, and this is another one of those that's like, yeah, I should probably have a dedicated video for that, so here we are. This is that time that 491 almost killed me. I almost met my maker, and my maker is apparently a flexible stable cap. So, anyway. This would have been like 2016, working at the museum, working on the 491. The caps hadn't been taken off in a long time. These are flexible stay-bolt caps. Stay-bolts hold the boiler together. If this doesn't make any sense, go check out Steam 101. Stay-bolts hold the boiler together, and some of them are called flexible stay-bolts, where rather than being threaded in the firebox and in the exterior boiler sheet, they're only threaded into the firebox, and they've got a big head that allows the sheet to pivot around it. And when you get a big grid of those, it allows for a little bit of rotation and freedom in the boiler sheet, which is really good because as the engine expands, as it heats up, that means that you're less likely to break stuff. So it was a modern locomotive thing to have lots of flexible stay bolts. You look at pictures of any super-powered steam, they got thousands of them. Well, 491, with a boiler originally built in 1902, was a little bit before that, and the railroad modified it to have 42 flexible stay bolts. So very few of them, and they're all in the throat. So the boiler has the barrel, and then there's the firebox behind the barrel. And that transition, imagine that you extruded my face. That transition where the firebox is back here, it's called the throat sheet of the boiler. So we're talking about the very front of the firebox, or right underneath the boiler barrel. There's 42 of these guys that live down in there. And they hadn't been taken off since presumably the last time the railroad did it in the 50s, and so these were very stubborn. Anything that sits for a long time, particularly if it's been heat cycled a bunch, doesn't like to come apart. And so I had about 3 foot of wrench and a big socket, and it was still not enough. So I was applying heat with the torch. When you heat metal up with a torch, it expands and it makes things come apart. Usually a fair bit easier. You've probably seen the memes of can't be tight if it's a liquid. Well, there is the intermediate step of it probably can't be tight if it's too big. So getting these guys to glow a dull cherry red, and then they spun off with not too much effort. I was going down the column on the outside of all these stays, and there's probably 7 or 8 of them on the outside column there. And I'm in the pit, and the wheel set's right behind me. I'm standing on a box in the inspection pit. The axle's running right behind me. There's a wheel here and a wheel here. 3 foot narrow gauge. They're less than 3 feet apart on the backside of the wheel. Like kind of crouched up between the brake rigging with my oxyacetylene torch, like right here, right? Heating these guys up and taking them off. Well, it was kind of a rush job at the time. And I do want to say before we go any further, like, I am so thankful for the museum safety culture these days. It is such a great place to work, and we like take a huge pride in the safety of what we do. And not necessarily back then, however, but time and things and people change. And so it was kind of just a, hey, we need to get this done kind of quick. Let's go and do this thing. Okay. Boiler's drained, right? Oh, yeah, it got drained. Okay, cool. I didn't check. I didn't verify. And they had opened up the blowdown to drain the boiler, which is almost all the way to the bottom of the boiler itself on the exterior of the firebox. But K37 firebox is flat, blowdown's here, and then there's a little slope at the front. And that means that if you want to drain the boiler all the way, you have to pull the 2 corner mud ring washout plugs out. Locomotives have many plugs that you have to remove on a 31-day inspection so you can get in there and hose things out and clean it out. And in order to drain it, you have to pull those 2 plugs. And then usually you have to put like a sock or a rag or something in there that wicks the rest of the moisture out because the plug can't be all the way down at the bottom because geometry. And the plugs are still in. and I didn't check. I didn't bother. It was a, hey, let's get it done fast. It's no big deal. This is just a piece, it's just a part. It just comes off, right? It shouldn't be able to seal anything. There shouldn't be any risk of what, like, that was not even a consideration in my head. And so I get down to this one, the last one in that column, which was in the water space. And something about me heating it must have expanded the bolt itself or something, and there was water sitting up against this, and things must have swelled and seeded, because that water flashed to steam and there was no place for it to go. And I had the torch on there for maybe 15 or 20 seconds, and it sounded like somebody put a shotgun right in front of my face and fired it. Like, I've never experienced anything that loud ever before or ever again. It was incredible. I was in shock immediately. This thing was gone. There was a smoking hole in front of me. I don't remember shutting off my oxyacetylene torch, but I did. It got blown out, and I, real quick, like, shut it off. I had no clue what just happened. This was gone, smoking hole. I can't hear anything. Like, I am absolutely deaf from the shockwave. My boss at the time came running into the roundhouse. He was in his office, which is in the viewer gallery. There was 2 closed doors between him and me, and the viewing gallery at the museum is almost perfectly soundproof. He came running in because he thought the acetylene bottle had exploded. That's how loud it was. It was ridiculous. There was a radio playing music like 10 feet away, and the speaker cones got blown out of it from the pressure wave 10 feet away. So that's why this ear, that's why I have tinnitus in that ear, by the way, because I was sitting there like that, and this thing went kabang right next to me. So that's the thing that I have to live with forever, and you guys know that I love music and all that sort of stuff, so that's a fun challenge that I get to live with, is a constant in that ear. So, you know, that's, I'm fortunate that that's all that it is, though, because this thing popped out, it hit the driver, the number 4 drive wheel, and it bounced out. Had it bounced in, there was nowhere but through my face that it would have gone. And this is, you know, 1/4 inch, I don't know if it's iron or steel, but you can see how much it deformed. It's insane. Like, it broke this significantly, and it left a little mark on the drive wheel, too. We didn't find this for a little while. It actually bounced over from stall 1 to stall 5. It was across the shop, like 100 feet away. Had no idea. Found it the one day and was like, oh my god, that's where that landed? That's insane. So, the power of steam is a very terrifying thing. Steam under pressure can move pistons and move trains, and it can also rocket little pieces of metal very quickly right next to you. And that was terrifying. But yeah, I keep it around. I'm glad we did find it. This is proof of my mortality. I could have been... that could have been the end for Heiss as a young lad learning to work on steam. So the thing to learn and the thing to take away from this story is always check. There is no job that you do in anything that you do, anything you're involved with. Nothing is worth rushing. Always do the check. Always pause. Always rebrief. Do the thing. The task will get done. There's no need that is greater than your safety. Oh, it needs to get done fast. Okay, that's great. I'm still gonna go check those plugs. Oh, hey, look, those plugs are in. It would have only taken 5 minutes to grab a socket and run those plugs out. But didn't do the check. And that was on me. That was, you know, on the safety culture at the time. But like I said, it's completely different now. The museum's a fantastic place to work. I don't want anyone to get that image in their head that the safety culture is bad, because it's really been a marked, huge difference. And also, I mean, same for me. I was young and dumb and did all sorts of stupid crap when I first started working on this stuff. Like, oh, we need to put the bell on the 491. Let me just climb up the thing with the bell on my shoulder, despite it weighing 100 pounds. And I'm climbing up with no fall protection and using one hand and 2 points of contact. Like, yeah, guilty of doing all that stuff. But learn these lessons. Learn these lessons from the people that come before you and the dumb bird people on the internet. That's me. learn that lesson. Your safety is critically important. So thankfully 491 didn't kill me, and she just messes with me in other ways these days. But some people say safety first, some people say safety third. All I'm going to say is, hey, make sure you take care of you, and it's your responsibility. You got to watch out for yourself and watch out for other folks. And if you see something, say something and pause, stop the work, rebrief. Like, that's the most important thing. So, hope you guys liked the story. Thanks for watching.